And so here we are, recording live from a new location. I can't say where. Anyway, yeah, mostly because I'm not entirely sure myself. Someone drove me here, and I'm terrible in remembering directions if I'm not paying attention, which I wasn't. So yeah, also ignore the carnage in the background. USA is playing Dawn of the Dead right now. Um, the thing is, though, this is something that I really, really need to talk about. I thought I was done with this topic. I really did. I said my say, and I said I'm fine with people liking whatever they want, and that still stands. You can like whatever you want. It's just some of the claims. I really can't respect anyone who refuses to admit that they um, don't like Kai for pretty much anything other than nostalgic value anymore. I can't. Because I used to think some people had some legit preferential reasons, and then I found out something. They're literally taking pretty much any music, even music that they know doesn't fit intentionally, and placing it over videos of Kai saying, "See, the music's better." It's getting ridiculous. The level of hatred it's getting. It's becoming a meme, and this is what I mean. A lot of the crap that people have with Dragon Ball happens to be meme based. A meme, contrary to popular belief, is not always funny. It's also not always necessarily untrue, but it's something that's it's a belief by consensus. It's a belief of emotion absent of fact. Um, and frankly, Kai's been the victim of that most of all. Okay, that was weird. Anyway, Kai's been the victim of that most of all. I'm sorry, it has. And when I think about why, there are just so many things that always pop back up. One being music. Music, technically, yeah, sure, it's in the eye of the, or ear in this case of the listener, not eye of the beholder, but anyway, people have different musical tastes. You can think this is better than that, whatever. Objectively, someone could say that too. The thing is, though, the music in Kai did go with the show. And I'm sorry, but techno music, well, Bruce Faulkner's music is darn good music. And I do appreciate the fact that he wrote it himself and that he performed it himself, and he even wrote a few songs after the series was done because he liked the series. I can appreciate that. I can understand that. As I understand it, someone then even took his tracks and remixed them and everything. More power to you. That's great. But it just didn't quite fit. It always had that awkward feeling, and like I said, it was played to death. Played to death. It just didn't have the dramatic weight, It just seemed like everything that was anything other than action related, it just kind of skimmed over, and then it gets back to this driving, and the guitars and everything. And, it just seemed like all the music other than that was just kind of trying to shove it back toward that. Now, music, contrary to popular belief, does seriously affect how you perceive a series, or a film, or anything. For example, if they were to take a scene and put classical music to it, and then take that same scene and then put rock music to it, why, it would give you two entirely different feels, and one of them wouldn't quite fit. I mean, seriously, it just doesn't, work as well. Not saying it's horrible like some people like to do, but no, it didn't fit right. The new one, I think, really was a better fit. It showed in that it actually carried a bit more weight behind it. I know people like to say that it was repetitive, but it was, but it wasn't. It's hard to explain. It's a certain piece of music is attached to a certain mood, and that's why they replayed it. And while it did repeat, it did set that mood. It did convey it very well. And it's basically a concept of it ain't broke, to don't fix it, and they're working on a fixed budget for this series. So yeah, Toei's been really scraping lately. I don't know why. Um, they're supposedly it's still the piracy thing, but there was something else that happened to them. I don't know what it was. I think they did a series that bombed or something. And then of course this tsunami hits, and that's gonna be a lovely mess for everyone over there. But You know, I mean, that one I can sort of handle to a point. It's when they get to the point where it's so god awful that you could take something like music from something like other video games, or even music from Street Fighter or something, and put it over it, and there it's, but it's utterly stupid. Then you have, no, okay, I'm gonna have to. Oh, thank God. Oh, sorry about that. Then you have the meme that really gets to me the most. The most is that the filler was somehow so. This is the exact same filler I want you to keep in mind that people always mocked. It was a meme in and of itself, and rightfully so. In many cases, it deserved to be mocked. Frieza, some of his ridiculous lines. Some of the most ridiculous lines in the world were in that series. The whole Frieza bucking Krillin on his horn, hooting and hollering and yelling, "Ride 'em, cowboy." I mean, really? Yeah, that's so evil, isn't it? It was stupid. The whole thing. It's like Frieza never had a brain in that series. And it's certainly according to that dub. The whole, and it gets to me. The filler. When you get to the filler, when you get to the stuff that, even in the Japanese version, there was filler. I mean, for God's sakes, yeah, sure, Roshi was always kind of pervy, but the guy was never so sick and insensitive that when Bulma's crying over Yamcha's death, he's rubbing her butt. I mean, really? Seriously? Oh, God. And it's not just that either. Then you got filler tossed in there about certain characters that just ain't true. You got the filler regarding who was it? Oh yeah, Tien, Yamcha, and Chaozu fighting the Ginyu Force, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's so awesome because you get to see them do something." But then these are the same people who then later on whine about how it's a plot hole because they were strong enough to fight them there. In which case, why didn't they wish them back instead? Because clearly they're strong enough to fight the Ginyus or whatever. Whatever. You know what? I don't really give a crap. We don't even know how strong Piccolo was when he got wished there. Was he strong enough to take them on his own before he fused with Nail? No one knows. But holy cow, guys! Oi, it wasn't a plot hole. It was frickin' filler. It was tossed in there. But now because it's gone, and that plot hole, though, thankfully, is now gone, they're throwing a fit because they're not doing any. What are they going to do? Beat up on already dead guys that were only thrown in there? See, this is what you don't understand. The filler in Dragon Ball Z, none of it, ever, was designed to explain something further. Every time they tried to do that, they screwed up. Because it is not what Toriyama had planned. They were not, pretty clearly, were not communicating with him very closely. They'd take like general ideas and just do whatever the heck with it. For example, he gave them this general idea that there may have been another race that the Saiyans had shared their planet, kind of a backstory thing. They took it, they ran with it, they create the Tuffles, they create but then they take it a step further and even come up with a means of destruction for the planet. Which made no sense in and of itself, simply because, wiping out the Tuffles and everything and then being so evil, I mean... Oh, wow. Yeah. Anyway, so that was, they took an idea that was Toriyama's creation and ran with it. But then there were other times where they just ran and did their own thing, and sometimes it's just such little stuff, but it's so annoying. And you got the stare downs that lasted for literally 5 minutes of nothing but stare downs and taunts back and forth, and then they get back to the fight. You gotta understand, the entire stinking purpose of this filler was just to stretch it out so that the manga could stay ahead. And oh my God, you do not even want to know how bad they did that to the Buu saga. How bad frankly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna say right now, the anime butchered the Buu saga compared to the manga. I am not gonna lie. After people who complain about Buu, if they read the manga of it, they would not say that. Half of what they say. But whatever. The odds of that happening are slim to none. A lot of them like to claim that they've read it anyway, and they still hate it, even though I'm pretty relatively certain that's not true. I'll admit I haven't even gotten to read all of it yet. I'm still reading it, and it's a ton better than what they did to it in the anime. I'm sorry, but it is. Wow. The fights in the anime got so stinking stretched out. Vegito versus Boo, for example, it was actually only about like 2 chapters. 2 chapters, Vegito went Super Saiyan 2 when he fought him, and he transformed right away before fighting. He never faced him in his base form. And the whole him being an arrogant, whatever jackass is actually a front, because in the back of his mind he's actually sitting there planning. He's got a plan, and then you find out the whole plan was to get Boo to absorb it. It's stuff like that. It just, it really gets to you that they left that out. And yet people keep talking about, oh, it makes it so much better. Oh, you get to know things about characters you never knew before. Like what? I want to know. I want to know right now. You name one piece of filler that ever lets you know anything about a character that you didn't already know, that didn't contradict something that came in the first series. See, that's just it. The filler was not designed to help you understand and get to know these characters. The filler was designed to freaking stretch the series. It did not even develop them well, let alone properly, into what they were supposed to be. That's what Dragon Ball was for. And yet people like to ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. Oh, nobody likes Dragon Ball. It wasn't as popular because it didn't have as amazing fight. Bull crap. You look at... You know what? No, it didn't have as amazing fights. If by amazing fights you mean giant energy blasts that go boom. Which, by the way, the anime has a lot more of than the manga. The manga was still mostly martial arts based. They had a few big blasts here and there, yeah. They fired off energy attacks here and there, yeah. But there was still a lot of hand-to-hand combat, tons of it. And I just don't understand why in the world you would think Dragon Ball had such dull fights. I've watched them; they're not dull. There's not a single fight that's dull. Goku taking on an entire freaking army on his own is not dull. Goku taking on the world's greatest mercenary, almost died, had to go see Korin to get strong enough to face him again. Not dull. Goku facing off against a mystery challenger in Baba's tournament. That turned out to be his grandpa. That wasn't dull, and that was frankly a rather emotional turn of events. Goku at the tournaments, he turns into the frickin' Uzaru in one of them. He goes on a rampage. You watch Roshi blow up the effing moon, people. That's not dull. And yet people act like, oh, that's dull. No one wants to see it. Let's just stick with this. I'm gonna call it right now. The main reason that people do not like Dragon Ball Z Kai is because it ruins their vision of what these characters should be. They don't give a crap about what Toriyama thinks his characters should be. They don't give a crap about the way the characters were actually written, because it does not fit their mains. They don't like it. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's why they didn't like Dragon Ball Evolution either. No, that was a genuine, complete, and total abandonment of everything that made Dragon Ball. That's a whole different story. In fact, the guys who created the movie openly admitted that they thought the series sucked and that they made it better. I'm not going to lie to you about that. That's their words. You can look it up. But seriously, you guys are seriously saying that unless it fits the memes, unless these characters are acting ways that they're not supposed to, unless Vegeta's crying about how Frieza's made him do what he did by threatening to kill his daddy, who, is long freaking dead ever since Vegeta was a little kid, so what's his excuse then? Did that make sense to you? No. Did you run with it anyway? Yes. Why? Because you're little fanboys and fangirls and don't want to accept the fact that Vegeta was genuinely, inherently evil at that time. Despite the fact that he's sitting there plotting to screw over Krillin and Gohan the second he gets what he wants, he plans to kill them, so on and so forth. He's still planning to kill Goku and everyone else, up until the whole Cell thing. Seriously. it wasn't just about becoming the strongest. It was about reclaiming his birthright. It was about repaying the humiliation. He wanted them dead. Doesn't fit your name though, does it? So of course you hate it. I can't tell you how many little Vegeta fanboys I've seen whine and moan about how they make Vegeta, forgive me for quoting here, look like a complete and total asshole. Guys, he was one. Deal with it. Okay? If you can't adjust to that fact, that's your problem. You best be finding another character to obsess over that. Okay? Oh, God. I mean, seriously, they'll accept the fact that Piccolo was evil more than they'll accept the fact that Vegeta was evil. I kid you not. Despite the fact that, you know, I'm talking about Piccolo and Dragon Ball Z without seeing Dragon Ball. They said that it's more plausible. They seem to think it's more plausible that Piccolo, as you see him exclusively in Dragon Ball Z, no Dragon Ball background whatsoever, is easier to believe he was evil than it was Vegeta, who, you know, you watched, let's see here, wipe out half a city, laugh while all of them were being slaughtered, murder an entire village of Namekian, including children. You know, you watch this happen, and yet somehow he's not a complete and total a-hole. And yet, let's see here, you know, Piccolo does what? Nothing except, you know, be gleeful about the fact that he finally gets to do Goku in, even though he'll just be wished back. You know, that's ground enough to be 100% totally evil. Yet Vegeta, who has been just as gleeful at opportunities to kill Goku multiple times, has declared that he's going to, and has rejoiced in the slaughter of others. You know, him being a complete a-hole, that's not plausible. Can't have that. That doesn't fit the meme. So, what do? We toss it out. We say it's crap. We say it's wrong. We say they ruined it. We say they messed up the character. They, as in Akira Toriyama, as in the man who wrote the freaking series, as in this is how he wrote it. Deal with it. This was how he wrote it. What little filler is left in pretty much exclusively for the sake of pacing. And no one's sitting there harping on a driving episode. It didn't go anywhere. If you really want to watch it that bad, people have it all over the internet. There are DVD sets of it. That's not going anywhere. No. The point is, though, this was supposed to be the story the way Akira Toriyama was trying to tell it. And what did you do? You took a dump all over it just because it didn't fit the main. I actually saw people try to claim that it wasn't how Akira Toriyama saw it because the way Akira Toriyama saw it was the anime, even though Akira Toriyama did not do the anime, he was writing the manga, but apparently the manga got it wrong. Yes, I've seen that claim. It's gotten that ridiculous. I've seen people actually claim that things that happen in the anime aren't filler, you know, that doesn't mean they're not canon because they didn't happen in the manga, even though there are things that happen in the anime filler that completely contradict the canon that is actually explained in the manga. And, you know, some of what they think is anime filler is actually a dumb mistake. Like Vegeta, for example. Well, to be fair, that wasn't a dumb mistake. That was actually the network stepping in and saying, hey, kids like this character. Parents are worried about that. Make him more marketable. Oh, God. But, again, this is not double. I don't understand. Why in God's name can you not let go of the memes? There are memes about power levels. People obsess over freaking numeric power levels. Guys, those were ditched for a reason. They were a bad thing. Did we miss that? Were we not paying attention with the whole Frieza's Goons thing? How attaching a number to someone's power was useless because it wasn't their true power, provided they actually had the ability to control their power at any great length. Did we, not pay attention to any of this? How power levels can be hidden, raised, lowered, controlled, fluctuate. Oh God, that ticks me off to no end. And the worst part is we have absolutely nothing to actually judge a base on. Nothing. So everyone keeps doing all these power levels of, Cell, second form, power level 287 million. It's like, based on what? 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 I mean, they got power levels seriously going all the way into frickin' GT. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's one of the dumber memes out there. Another meme that people love to go with is, misconceptions. They assume that because Gohan did not turn Super Saiyan after he received that power up from the old Kai, that therefore meant that it was impossible for him to do so. Yet never once in the manga or even the anime do they say that. The list of memes goes on and on and on, and it's just so old and annoying, and I don't get it. But when you seriously are taking a dump on the way the actual series is written, just because it doesn't fit the freaking meme, what? Oh God, what's wrong with you? Seriously, why do you value the meme so much more than the actual series? Why? Why do you value, Yamcha, and Bulma, having a fight that wasn't in the manga so much? Why do you value, why do you value Vegeta being a victim so much? Why do you value all this stuff? Why do you guys value all this crap? Why? I don't get it. I just don't. You value it so much more highly than the actual thing. It makes no sense. Frankly, I honestly, I'm running out of things to say here. The words cannot express my frustration here. Why? Can anyone give me a good reason why? You know what? If I have to, I swear to God, I will sit down and I will take every major character in Dragon Ball Z and I will freaking analyze them for you as they are in the manga. And I swear to God, I will have about 30,000 fanboys tell me how wrong I am because this or this or this or this happened in anime filler, and I can't just discount it just because it's filler. Or how this did happen and it makes more sense that it could happen. No, see, I don't buy that. I'm not buying into that. I'm not playing that game. So I don't know what to say. Okay. I tell you what. Those of you who do, you give me a reason. Right down there. Can you do that? Give me a dang good reason why. Okay. Why? And none of the meme crap, none of the music sucks, the blah blah blah. They shouldn't have changed voice actors. Oh hell yes, they should have. In almost every case they should have, and the cases where they couldn't, they had to. I also love how people are talking about how Damian Clark's cell was so much better than Travis Williams, even though there's almost no audible difference. I mean, seriously, this is how ridiculous the memes are getting. Every old actor was so much better than who they replaced them with, even though half these actors got replaced because they either flat out refused to come back or they literally could not do the role anymore, such as in the case of Linda Young, who could not do Frieza anymore because it was literally causing her physical freaking pain, you insensitive fools. And Damian Clark, who is an actual television actor now, and union rules actually prohibit him from coming back and doing voice work unless this and that, too restrictive. Plus he's busy doing TV work. The guy's a full-fledged actor now. Well, TV actor. So, doing actual live roles. So, I don't get it. And, I love it too how they talk about character personality and how the voice doesn't fit their personality, even though they clearly don't even know what the character's personality was. They're basing it off of an old dub that got half of them wrong sometimes because they had to guess, because they didn't have the ability to communicate with the Japanese like they do today. And because networks said, oh, change this, change that, make this person more accessible. Oh, I don't want this person seeming like this, so on and so forth. Oh my God. So yeah, you know what? You tell me. Why? I'm waiting. I will be waiting. Give me one good freaking reason why taking out the filler just ruined everything, even though it took it back to what it was supposed to be. One legit good reason. Not I liked it. Okay, that is not legit. You give me one case where it ruins the plot to have it as the actual plot. I'll be waiting. Bye.